If you're in need of a vehicle and you don't like the idea of buying a car or leasing a car, another option is to rent a vehicle. And in Section 7, we're going to go through some of the things that come into play when you rent a vehicle. And basically, it comes down to they're going to charge you a certain amount per day to rent the vehicle. They're usually going to charge you for mileage, so many cents per mile. There's also the option to get insurance on the vehicle in case you have an accident while you're driving it. And then they'll also require you, when you rent a vehicle, to return it full of gas. So you will be charged for the gas that you're burning while you use the vehicle. So here are a couple of examples that show you some ways, some things that could come up as you're renting a vehicle. So our first example, you're renting a truck for 2 days. It costs $82.95 per day. You're going to drive 140 miles at 33 cents a mile, and you purchase collision waiver insurance for $8.50 per day. And during the course of the 2 days, you purchase $8.39 of gas. Wants to know the total cost and the cost per mile. So let's break it down kind of sentence by sentence here. We're going to rent the truck for 2 days at $82.95 per day. So I'm going to multiply that $82.95 times 2. That's going to be the cost for renting the vehicle. If I take $82.95 times 2, we get $165.90. That takes care of the renting part of it. We're also going to drive 140 miles at 33 cents a mile. So I have to multiply those also. 140 miles, each one of them costs 33 cents. 140 times 33 is $46.20. That takes care of the gas. We'll also purchase the collision waiver insurance, $8.50 per day. And it says up here we rented the car for 2 days. So $8.50 times 2, and that one's going to be $17. And then the last thing, over the 2 days, you purchased $8.39 in gas. We'll put that down here. When we add these 4 things together, that's going to give us our total cost. Let's go ahead and do that. $165.90 plus $46.20 plus 17 plus $8.39 comes out to a total of $237.49. This is your total cost. That's the first thing they wanted. Second thing they want us to do is find the cost per mile. To find the cost per mile, you're going to take your total cost, that $237.49 we just found, and we're going to divide it by the number of miles we drove. If you go back up here, it says we drove 140 miles. If we take that $237.49, divide it by 140, we're going to have to do a little bit of rounding here. It's about $1.69. There's a 6 behind there, so we'll round that up to 70. Our cost per mile is $1.70 per mile. Now, our second example shows us something a little bit different. This time around, they're not going to charge us for mileage, which is rare. You don't run into this a lot, but occasionally it'll happen. And also, this car rental company, they have a 5-day rate of $310.34. What that means is each day is not going to cost you $310.34. This is the $310.34 is what it's going to cost to rent that car for the entire 5 days. So rather than multiplying these out, that is the cost of the car to rent it. $310.34 is the cost of the car for the 5 days. There's no charge for mileage. And we're going to drive 450 miles and use $52.90 in gas. Now, we do have to pay for the gas. So we'll add that $52.90 on here to get our total cost, which is going to be $363.24. That's the total cost. They don't ask for it on this one, but that would be your total cost. To find the cost per mile, we once again go back and do what we did before. Take your total cost and divide it by the number of miles. Total cost is $363.24. This time around, we drove 450 miles. Let's put that in the calculator. $363.24 divided by 450 comes out to 0.807. That 7 is enough to round up. So we'd round up to 81 cents per mile.